Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of, or stream episode of Strangeness. It's a topic that I've been doing on my live with Roger Hansen stream on Minds.com. Today, I wanted to welcome Karma Love back. Would you like to say hi, Karma?
Hi everyone.
Hello, Karma. Last week we got into, I believe it was Jack Parsons, and
Yeah,
kind of
we
talked
didn't really
about
do
Aleister Crowley. Now you mentioned Tesla, but I really think we should hold that for the conspiracy topic that we're having because Tesla,
Tesla and conspiracy.
yeah, Tesla,
You think?
yeah. Uh,
Okay,
so
dokie.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a definite curve I did not expect coming, but okay, let's do that then.
because there's a whole conspiracy theory behind Tesla by himself. An entire freaking government cover-up conspiracy
Oh
behind
yeah,
Tesla.
about his death and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I know that one because I remember we were
It's,
talking
I
about
mean,
him saying he was incompetent.
so far, I'm the only one that's ever mentioned that I've heard about the story about his death. Okay,
Yeah,
the stuff
and
that
also,
stuff I'm talking about is like a program that's freaking dark, dark. It's basically a black ops that they a lot of conspiracy theorists believe exists. But we can get into that tomorrow if you want to, or I don't know if Thon and them want to actually do what we were talking about with 9/11 and the COVID epidemic and stuff. So if they want to do that, then we can do it. But I think that would be a good topic too to talk about with Tesla.
well, yeah, I say so just because I had no clue that there was a conspiracy surrounding the situation, except for what we were talking about them saying last week when we were talking about them. Supposedly, we feel as though that they may have murdered him and he may have been a victim of wrongdoing. Now, it makes sense given the nature of the circumstances because he's use of natural energy and resources and such in a capitalistic economy, then I mean, that would make sense. But I also too have some requests. I know you like to do the flat Earth round Earth conversation, but I was wondering if you could ever put that on the schedule.
It sounds like you're having issues with your audio, with your volume.
Is it loud or is it too
No,
low?
it's too low.
Oh, is that?
You say something again.
I had something again.
Oh,
Is that better?
yeah, it's better.
Okay, it's because I have my headphones in. I'm traveling right now, but when I get out, I'll be able to take them out. But it's just easier to have my headphones now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always use my headphones now too. It just keeps the noise out and makes it the mics on them actually work better. So
How does my background sound? Is it noisy?
I can hear a little bit, but not very much, like little
Okay.
chip sounds.
Yeah, okie dokie. I was just wondering. But yeah, like I was saying that I was wondering. I know you like to stay away from the flat Earth conversation, but I
Oh
was
no,
wondering
no,
if
no, that's Pecos. That's Pecos Dave.
that he wants to stay away from it. I mean, I was just
I mean,
saying we
we
can
can
have
talk
that talk
about
and
it.
get.
We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Just don't like clamp me up to it.
I'm not. I
I
just would
don't.
like to have an open
I don't want to be.
conversation. You don't have to
No,
be.
nobody wants a responsibility for the flat earthers, man. That's like hardcore shit. That's like, oh hell no.
Yeah, no, I promise I understand. But I had a really deep conversation with possible flat earthers, and I kind of like made them see, like not made them see, but just gave them an opportunity to have a different type of. It's just a lot because I was asking logical questions, and they were just like, "Yeah, you're right. Though. What happens if you're there? What happens if you have like?" And so it was
You want
kind
to talk
of.
about flat earther, man? That's about as strange as you can get. I mean, just
We
throw it
can't
out.
do it today. No,
Why
not
not?
today. Because I want to have more insight on the subject matter and be able to provide adequate feedback.
Okay.
Because I don't know enough, and I'm learning as I go. I just know that I prefer to say that we're in the dome, like we're in the dome. Because when you're above, quote unquote, you don't see the people just walking all over the earth. So we're in a dome.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention it too, but like when we were having that conversation with Pecos, I was trying to explain something that I couldn't remember the name of it, and I finally remembered it. It's a parallax, okay,
Okay.
and that's something that gets discussed like when you start talking about flat earthers, because of the field of view and why it is that freaking you can't see from Michigan to Lake Michigan into Chicago. Why you can't see the buildings? That's because
So
of
we're
that's because of the curve of the Earth.
that's
But
non-existent when you're a flat earther. But no, let's just wait. That way I can be better prepared and you can have more time. We're talking about Crowley and Parsons, and I feel like that's still something that we should probably engage with.
yeah. Now on Aleister Crowley, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, as well as the Aeon of Hearts. Absolutely, yeah.
You
You
want
want
to
me
talk?
to talk about it? I want us
You
to
you
talk
want to
about
talk
it.
about Horus too?
Aeon of Hearts, the group that Crowley founded.
Yeah. Well, throw some
Remember I
some.
sent you that documentary?
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to say something about it,
Okay, so what I've been learning is that supposedly he went to like I don't want to, and if I'm wrong, I definitely stop me. I'm just not as much of an expert as you guys, and especially you are. But like he went to Egypt and he was able to incorporate religion that he learned from them and power usage that he was able to study, and as a result, he developed the Aeon of Heart, and the Aeon of Hearts, like how the space traveler Jack Parsons is the one who incorporated the space traveler aspect, but like he used the power and rituals. I don't want to call it rituals, but yeah, the acts practices of Crowley in order for him to be able supposedly to fuel these ideas as well as concepts. And I know Crowley is really big with like numerology and just being able to, I don't want to call it numerology, like it wasn't, but he was like recognizing the signs of the universe, alchemy type, and we were talking about that yesterday a little bit as well. And so I'd rather more of what I do not know. Because, like, who do you know him to be? It's like, do you know about the Aeon of Hearts? Like, you've heard of that before, right? Before I sent the documentary?
yeah. Now, Aeon is the Thelema, okay, and in the religion of Thelema, it's believed that the history of humanity can be divided into a series of eons, okay, each of which is accompanied by its own form of magical and religious expression. Now, the first of these was the Aeon of Isis, which Thelemites believe occurred during prehistory, and which saw mankind worshipping a great goddess, symbolized by the ancient Egyptian deity Isis. The Thelemites believed that This was followed by the Aeon of Osiris, a period that took place in the classical and medieval centuries, when humanity worshipped a singular male god symbolized by the Egyptian god Osiris, and was therefore dominant by patriarchal values. Now, the third Aeon is the Aeon of Horus, and controlled by the child god symbolized by Horus. Now, in the new Aeon prophesied by Aleister Crowley during his lifetime throughout his esoteric and occult writings, Thelemites believe that humanity shall leave behind the tyranny of Abrahamic religions and enter a time of greater consciousness and self-actualization. Within the Thelemites' religion, each of these aeons is believed to be characterized by their own specific magical formula, the use of which is very important and fundamental to the understanding of Thelemic magic. And that's the definition for it in the Wikipedia, which I doubt you're going to find anything out from the Encyclopedia Britannica, so that's why I used it. Now, the modern Aeon of Horus is portrayed as a time of self-realization as well as a growing interest in all things spiritual, and is considered to be dominant by the principle of the child. The word of its law is thelema, which means will, which is complemented by agape, which is love, and its formula is abrahadabra, which is a pretty good mix between Abraham probably and cadabra. Individually, which its formula is abrahadabra. Individuality and finding the individual's true will are the dominant aspects. Its formula is that of growth, is consciousness and love towards self-realization. Concerning the Aeon of Horus, Crowley wrote, "A crowned and conquering child who dieth not, nor is reborn, but goeth radiant which goeth radiant ever upon his way. Even so goeth the sun, for as it is now known that night is but the shadow of the earth, so death is but the shadow of the body. That veileth his light from its bearer, heart of the master." And also in his little essays towards truth, the Aeon of Horus is here, and its first flower may well be this, that freed of the obsession of the doom of the ego in death and of the limitations of the mind by reason, the best men again set out with eager eyes upon the path of the wise, the mountain track of the goat, and then the untrodden ridge that leads to the ice-gleaming pinnacles of mastery. Now it goes on with Lon Milo de Quet commented on the connection that the Aeon of Horus had to the age of Aquarius, when he stated that, yes, the Aeon of Horus is coincidentally to what astrologers and songwriters call the age of Aquarius, and what millions of others refer to simply as the New Age. But it would be a great mistake to view this new Aeon simply as another tick of a great cosmic clock. The age of Aquarius, profoundly significant as it is only one aspect of a far greater new spiritual age. Sometimes Crowley compared the word of Horus with other formulas, whose reigns appear to overlap with the aeon of Osiris and or Isis. From this, the Confessions of Aleister Crowley. There are many magical teachers, but in recorded history we have scarcely had a dozen magi in the technical sense of the word. They may be recognized by the fact that their message may be formulated as a single word, which word must be such that it overturns all existing beliefs and codes. We may take as instances the word of Buddha Anatta, absence of an Atman or soul, which laid its axe to the root of Hindu cosmology, theology, and psychology, and incidentally knocked away the foundations of the caste system, and indeed of all accepted morality. Muhammad, again, with the single word Allah, did the same thing with polytheism, patently pagan or camouflaged as Christian of his period. Similarly, Iwas uttered the word Thelema with all its implications, destroys completely the formula of the dying God. Thelema implies not merely a new religion, but a new cosmology, a new philosophy, a new ethics. It coordinates the disconnected discoveries of science from physics to psychology into a coherent and consistent system. So that is for that. But then underneath it, coincidentally, we were talking about Ma'at yesterday with history, and it has an Ian of Ma'at. And it says Aleister Crowley believed that the Ian of Ma'at will succeed the present one, according to one of Crowley's early students, Charles Stanfield Jones, aka Frater Atchid. The Ian of Ma'at has already arrived or overlaps the present Ian of Horus.
And see,
Crowley.
that's what I thought was interesting. Keep going. No, it's just interesting because we were just talking about that yesterday. I had no clue of the
Yeah,
direct correlation, even, and maybe I just overlooked it when I was listening to the documentary I was watching.
yeah. Now, Aleister Crowley believed that the Ian of Ma'at will succeed the present one, according to one of Crowley's early students, Charles Stanford Jones, aka Frater Atchard Akkad. The Ian of Ma'at has already arrived or overlaps the present Ian of Horus. And then Crowley wrote, I may now point out that the reign of the crowned and conquering child is limited in time by the book of the law itself. We learn that Horus will be in his turn succeeded by Thamaist, Thmaist, the double-wanded one, she who shall bring the candidates to full initiation, and though we know little of her peculiar characteristics, we know at least that her name is Justice. So that is what I kind of delved into it, but I didn't know about the Ma'at part. This was a long time ago. Like
Yeah.
the one thing that I get from Crowley when it comes to stuff like the Horus of the from the Ian of Horus is like back during the Sumerian times, the way they practiced magic was a lot different from the way the Greeks do. Like with the Greeks, they have these great houses. Okay, when it comes to freaking the years and stuff like that,
Hmm.
um, the Sumerians never did that. It was more basic than all of that. And like spiritualists believe that you go in and you put freaking like uh, the herbs and everything through the house to bless it and to keep evil spirits out.
Yeah,
Where,
sage and rosemary. Yeah.
yeah, and with the Sumerians, they believe that like if you're gonna put sage and rosemary and all that down to keep evil spirits out,
You
you do it
welcoming them.
you do it by the doorways and you do it by the windows because in their beliefs spirits couldn't enter through the walls. You see,
Hmm.
and
Makes sense. That.
they also buried their dead in the floors of their houses.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, because that's where they belong. They were buried.
What?
Yeah, that's where they belong. And
Your dead
usually,
people belong in the floorboards. Well, I've been doing it all wrong.
they,
No.
they, they belong down and underneath their houses, apparently. I have no clue why they decided to do that. I just know that they did it.
And that's how they felt, right? I
Yeah.
was just thinking.
And see, uh, family members were buried in the floors. They didn't have wood or nothing as floors. It was usually dirt, and they just would dig a hole and bury them there. And when they buried them, they had to go through a ritual to bound the spirit under the ground because Sumerians believed that spirits could actually come up out of the ground if they wanted to or if they had the strength to. So their exorcist or their priest, whatever you want to call them, would come out and they would frickin' do a form of magic, and this is what relates me to the Ian of Horus. They would do what today people joke around about, and they think it's just a bullshit, but it's called mumbo jumbo. I don't know if
Uh,
you. I don't know if
yeah, no, I say mumbo jumbo. So wait, tell me what it really means.
today it's a big joke to a lot of people, but
Yeah, it's a bunch
back
of mumbo jumbo.
yeah, but back then mumbo jumbo was actually powerful to be able to speak words that have never been spoken by the human tongue was a lot. It meant a lot of power, or it had a lot of power. So these
That's why people make a big deal about what I was saying.
so
That
these
makes sense.
exorcists would try to come up with words that have never been spoken by humans, and they also believe that like even if they were spoken by humans, but they were rarely ever used, those were powerful words too. You see, and that's kind of what I get out of a lot of the stuff that Aleister Crowley got into when it comes to the Ian of Horus and Osiris and Isis and all that. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm steady talking to you, and I realized that it was on mute after you realized that that makes sense. And I just was like, oh yeah, okay. And I said, come on, we definitely don't do that. I pay attention to street signs. Thank you. Weirdos. Nothing. People like to see who's, I guess, member is bigger, and like sometimes I find mine to be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I apologize. I got distracted. You gonna say
Oh, it's
me?
fine.
Ah, dare you?
You with your family?
Yeah, so the boys have basketball practice, and basketball practice just started. And because it just started, we do every day now from 6:30 to 7:30. And so I'm walking to take them to the school. I'm walking across the street. There's a park across the street, and I'm going to take because only one has it on one day. Of course, it has to be different days for all of them, so I have to be here every day now. But it's regardless of the fact someone was attempting to hit us going across the street, like kind of like, oh, you don't have to take it, you don't get the crosswalk, we do, and like, no, I definitely get the crosswalk, and so I talk junk, like, I mean, like, I'm not cutting you off, I'm not walking into oncoming traffic, I literally have the countdown, and you're attempting to hit me and my children. I'm gonna talk junk. I'm not gonna just sit here and just be like, oh no, it's okay,
Yeah.
you go ahead, it's no big deal, because I know you're being strategically rude, and I can do that too if we have to. Like, let's not. Anyway, carry on. Just ignore me. Just ignore me.
Yeah,
Like I'm
you're gonna
attentive.
see Mama getting the fights at the basketball
Yeah,
game.
no, not at the game. Before we get there, they won't even let me in now because I beat somebody down the block. They'll be like, "Oh man, she just drugged this guy. This guy, right? Like leave us." Oh boy, no, they're
Yeah,
being
you
rude on
behave at
purpose.
that basketball game.
I'm gonna have to. I have no choice. Like I'll be good. But no, keep going, please, because I'm just dropping him off and I'm attentive. It's just the whole presence of the meantime because they've been like talking to me and then so I keep muting and I apologize. It started raining because I told you about what's happening. But you want me to tell you the funniest thing about this rain? It's literally raining directly only on us. The rest of the town right here, there's no
Uh huh.
rain. There's no rain. But on me and my children, it's pouring down rain. Oh wait, they turned the rest of the sprinklers on. There you go. Gotta make it rain on the. You gotta make it rain everywhere for me to believe it. You know, you can't just do it on me and it seem real. Anyway, I'm gonna mute, but keep talking and I will respond
Oh,
accordingly. I'm
it's
about
fine.
to be at the doors.
It's fine. The the thing that I was always interested in when it comes to like those parts was like I was saying, it was mumbo jumbo, and I forgot the name of the guy again. He's a guy. He's a professor that is in does college. Prof. Hinky, Hinkle, Professor Hinkle. He does a lot of the
I feel like
ancient Assyrian videos on YouTube and stuff, and he also has his own class where he teaches about the demonology with ancient Assyria and the Sumerians and their beliefs. And he was the one that got me curious about all that stuff because he's first of all he's a really good professor. He was the guy that came out and actually got funding to where he could try to rebuild the ark and see if it could float. And he did it according to the Sumerians and stuff. So uh, that was interesting. They've actually got a video for when he did that. But he started talking about mumbo jumbo, and he started talking about what else was it about The Exorcist? You know how they have that little statue that they show on The Exorcist with the demon and how evil it is. Well, he
Yeah, I don't know.
he got frustrated about it, and like on one of his videos I got a kick out of it because he gets on there and he says somebody needs to freaking stand up for that demon because they got it all wrong. Back in that time period they used those little figurines to protect houses from evil spirits entering, and he's like somebody needs to sue him for freaking false uh, or for false something. But I got a kick out of where they made it out to be worse, or what he wasn't actually an evil spirit, but he was actually a protector demon that protected the houses from other demons who wanted to come in. So now with mumbo jumbo or mumbo jumbo is confusing or meaningless language. The phrase is often used to express humorous criticism of middle management and specialty jargon such as legalese that non-specialists have difficulty to understand in understanding. For example, I don't understand all that legal mumbo jumbo in the fine print. It may also refer to practices based on superstition, rituals intended to cause confusion, or languages that the speaker does not understand. Origins. Now, mumbo jumbo was a West African word often cited by historians and etymologists as deriving from the Mandinka word jambo, which refers to a masked male dancer who takes part in religious ceremonies. In the 18th century, mumbo jumbo referred to a West African god, Mungo Parks, uh, a West African god. Mungo Parks' travel journal, Travels in the Interior of Africa, 1795, describes mumbo jumbo as a character complete with masquerade habit, whom Mandinka males would dress up as in order to resolve domestic disputes. According to
Wait,
the
what? Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm listening. I've been listening. I had to leave and I did not hear you. But
That was in 1795, and in Mungo's Parks
when did
travel.
it phase out?
I'm not done yet. I can read it out. Um, but
I apologize.
no, it's
I'm ahead of
fine.
myself.
It's fine. According to the concise Oxford English Dictionary, mumbo jumbo is a noun and is the name of a grotesque idol said to have been worshipped by some tribes. In its figurative sense, mumbo jumbo is an object of senseless veneration or a meaningless ritual. According to the 1803 supplement of Encyclopedia Britannica, 3rd edition, mumbo jumbo is a strange bugbear employed by the pagan Mandingos for the purpose of keeping their women in subjection. Polygamy being allowed among these polygamy being allowed among these people. Each man marries as many wives as he can conveniently maintain, and the consequence is that family quarrels sometimes rise to such a height that the husband's authority is not sufficient to restore peace among the ladies. On these occasions, the interposition of mumbo jumbo is called in, and it is always decisive. The strange minister of justice, who is either the husband himself or some person instructed by him, disguised in a sort of masquerade habit made of the bark of trees, and armed with the rod of public authority, announces his coming by loud and dismal screams in the woods near the town. He begins his pantomime at the approach of night, and as soon as it is dark, he enters the town and proceeds uh, to the Bentong or marketplace, at which all the inhabitants immediately assemble. The ceremony commences with song and dances, which continue till midnight, about which time Mumbo fixes on the offender. This unfortunate victim being thereupon immediately seized is stripped naked, tied to a post, and severely scourged with Mambo's rod. amidst the shouts and derishing of the whole assembly, and it is remarkable that the rest of the women are the loudest in their exclamations of this occasion against their unhappy sister. Daylight puts an end to this incident, and revel, unmanly revel that the women are deluded seems evident, for Mr. Parks assures us that the dress of Mumbo is suffered to hang from a tree at the entrance of each town, which would hardly be the case if the women were not persuaded that it is the dress of some supernatural being. Yeah, I never heard that part. That was the first time I've even heard of
And
that.
I'm looking for pictures of the ritual to see if there's some type of pictures of like the ceremony or something. Do you have any?
No, that's the first time I've ever heard of it. The heathen's prayer is, I think it's coming over to, yeah, the OBS. I've got it videotaping, so later on you can see the picture that I've got here. It's called The Heathen's Prayer by the Ripsaw Poet. And it goes, O Mumbo Jumbo, God of stone, we kneel in terror at thy throne. Save us, if you can, from the clutches of the Christian man. Save us from Kaiser, King, and Czar, and worse than all, from fierce TR. We sit in darkness, so they say, oh, Mumbo, keep us there, we pray. The only thing we heathen fear is that the Christians may come here, hold back these creatures from our shores, and save us from their bloody wars. They confiscate our native soil and doom us all to lives of toil. The more they made us slave and sweat, the more they'd have us in their debt. And every blooming coconut tree would soon belong to some John D. And if we ever should rebel, we'd have us heathen shot to hell. Good Mumbo Jumbo, God of stone, make the Christians leave us alone. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is justice. But I mean, look at our society now. So
Yeah. I don't know if you were able to catch that on there,
I don't
but
see it. All I see is your thing. It doesn't. It's not showing sharing your screen. It usually does. It usually
hold
shares
on
like your
here.
chat and
Let me see if I can pop it up. And wait, actually, cancel that out. I could probably get it back
I'll
on
look.
by
I was
going
about to say
in.
I don't want you to put you too far out of your way because I know when you do the stream, I usually last night I didn't watch any of our streams because they do you listen to WPNR or WR on mines the news people. Yo, you should be there. Like I feel like you are there. There's this one guy that reminds me a lot of you.
Well,
Like I'm
here,
just
here
saying,
recently, I mean, here recently, I haven't really been into all this stuff. like, excuse me, I haven't been into all this stuff like I used to. At one time, I think it would have been something that I'd been interested in, but just here lately, I've really had a different look at everything. So
what
it's
what kind of different look? I apologize for stuff in the jigger.
um, well, a lot of the stuff that's being covered is like rehashed stuff from freaking 50 years ago. You know what I mean? And when you really get into this stuff and you start looking at it, like you just kind of have to look back and say, hold up, didn't so and so say this like 20 years ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So for
I see
me,
what you're saying.
there we go. I got it. Can you see
Okay,
that?
I see it now. Uh-huh. The
All right.
heathen's prayer.
Yeah. Now I can zoom it in. Maybe that'll make it look a little bit better. But this is basically the photo that I'd seen on there. I want to make sure that's coming through on the recording. Yeah, it's on
It's
there.
I'm just screenshot it so I can zoom a little bit. But I can zoom a bit, but I want to have it for my documents.
That's the thing too about Encyclopedia Britannica. They they've got a lot of liberal tones about what they're talking about too. So like
You
mumbo
got to be
jumbo.
careful and try to like weed it out. Like, is it being biased or is it
Yeah,
being neutral? Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's my biggest thing about finding research from anywhere outside of source because people are going to make it fit what they're looking to convey. And so
yeah.
that's why it's just one of those things you literally can get the same answers if you in tune. And then when those answers parallel, then I understand the alignment. But when the answers differ, then I kind of always usually lean with the source no matter what's written. Like,
Like
just because.
mumbo jumbo takes its place going all the way back to the Sumerians. I mean, it was. I mean, when it comes to exorcism in the Sumerian culture, okay,
Culture?
that
Yeah.
was very important to them. Sumer,
Hey, and if
Sumerian.
my background ever gets too loud, please ask me to mute. And if you can mute me, then just mute me. Because, like, what might not seem loud to me might be loud to you. Like, right now, is it loud right now? Because there's glitter in the background. Is it loud?
No, it's not. It's
Okay,
not.
okay. I just making sure. Just make sure you let me know and mute it if it's a problem because I attempt to keep it unmuted so I can respond to you and ask my questions. Because sometimes I'm fumbling to get the unmute and you're like on to the next thing and oh man, hold on, wait a second. And so I just let me know though if it's too loud. Say, hey, can you turn that down? Or you can turn it down because I think you can. I don't know. I was like, she should be able to because you control the room. That's loud. I know that's loud.
Now here we've got ancient origins, and they talk about demonic exorcism in the temple schools of Mesopotamia, and
We were just talking about Mesopotamia yesterday.
yeah, in the temple schools of Mesopotamia, students learned exorcism rituals, how to mix healing, at, autonomy, autonomants, perform astrology, and how to cure demonic possession. While these skills may seem archaic now, the temple schools actually served as the first medical schools. They even trained their students on the study of contract law, ethics, medical billing, and accounting. They were hubs of intellectual activity. The temple priests produced textbooks for to train young train young ones, I guess. Thanks to the medic, meticulous record keeping of the Sumerians, archaeologists are able to study their early medical knowledge and religious beliefs.
How strategic do you feel like the record keeping was? Because you know how some cultures have no type of records of anything, and then there's like a document for everything in these regards. How strategic do you think this was,
Well, the
or if at
Sumerians
all?
were all about that. I mean, they were meticulous about keeping records, and the thing is, so is the Assyrians and the Babylonians because they were after, or they were like the progenitors, I guess you could say, of what the Sumerians were. They were what came out of the Sumerian cultures, even though they're like different altogether. Like their languages were different because the Sumerians ended up merging with the Acadians, and then the Acadians and well, the Acadians just vanished. I mean, they vanished, and the Sumerians, their empire fell, but then there was the Assyrians that stepped in and just took over everything. You know, so they had the Sumerian language, which the Babylonians freaking kept intact, and it was important for their students to learn, or their priests especially, to learn Sumerian, even though the rest of their population wrote in Akkadian, and then eventually Semitic, writings. Because back then that was the big deal. Like Semitic writing was the most. It was the most, or is the easiest to use.
Why is that? Or if you know why is that? Well, is it just by demeanor or
Well,
nature, or
from what I've learned, the Sumerian language was very complicated in the way that it was written. Me let my cat out the door.
you have a cat? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness! Your cat goes outside
I'll be right back. Yeah.
by herself?
But yeah, not
You let her
uh,
outside in the wilderness?
him. I'll let him outside. There ain't no
Him out
wilderness.
in the wilderness? It's
It's not.
outside by himself.
He loves it out there. I have
My
to
baby, and
freaking.
comes home.
If I have to force him to come in the house, the only thing he wants to come in the house for is food.
Stop playing. Are you kidding me? My cat is a cuddly butterly. She's hiding under the bed somewhere. She don't even like to be held, but she'll like to come up. Like lately, her new thing is jumping on my chest and just laying on my chest and staring at me. What's wrong with you, psycho? What are you doing? And she'll like sit in. I think because we like we play with each other, so she'll just like sit there and she'll just stare at me on the corner, and she'll literally just be staring and staring and staring. Like, you know how they make cats seem? She's like acting. It's like she knows that I've seen too many cat memes and now she would like to play the part. She's insane all of a sudden. That's crazy. You let your baby outside by herself. I would never. She runs when I open the door, and we have a pool in the back, so she really trips.
I don't even.
They cannot stand with her.
I don't even know what to say about that. Now, the thing that you're saying about like the Akkadians' language was easier to write and to speak and stuff, and that's the reason why eventually everybody just kind of started doing the Akkadian language over the Sumerians, and it just phased out. I mean, you're talking about like thousands of years, and like how they have where we were just reading about the Ian of Horus and Isis and all that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Those
Oh, can I ask you another question about ISIS? Maybe
uh,
you told me this. We talked about this. ISIS and Esther. Is it portrayed that ISIS and Esther are the same? Is there some type of
and who? Isis and who?
ISIS and Easter?
Oh
Easter.
no, Ishtar. No,
Yes. No,
I
that's what I said. It was another lady, and I said that because I was
now
right, and I love
Ishtar.
that.
Well, you might get somebody who's really hardcore into Zachariah Sitchin or come up with that. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
like there, I just don't see that as being nothing
Wait,
that
hold
I've
on. They're
heard of.
into what? Hold on, time out. They're into what?
That somebody that's like into like Zachariah Sitchin. Have you ever heard of Zachariah Sitchin?
No, can you tell me more?
Zachariah Sitchin is the one who came out with the Anunnaki and Nibiru, and how they were the aliens who came into Earth and genetically modified humans to where we could be smart and work for them as slave labor.
I thought I didn't know it was a slave labor because I know even the Pleiadians talk about Pleiadians. I think I say it wrong every time, but they were talking about us having some type of power given to us, and the people of Earth initially were gods, like I be saying, and then there was separation of the people, and the separation of the people wouldn't see, and maybe that was the aliens that she was talking about, and there were some that made the people weak instead of allowing them to maintain the power. So maybe
Yeah.
that's
Now,
360.
the reason why I mentioned the whole thing about the Sumerians and stuff is because, like, when it comes to like magic, the Greeks are the ones who started the great houses, like the Age of Aquarius and all of that. You know, they started grouping up the constellations and stuff. But before all of that happened, it was just the basics. You know what I mean? The astronomers back during the time of Sumeria, the Sumerians, even like the Babylonians, they didn't do stuff like that. They were into astronomy and they did it very well. It's just they didn't group them up like that.
See, and I didn't know. Like I'm about to look up Zacharias and
And
Can you spell I'm going to need you to spell the aliens for me. But again, the name of the aliens that made the humans
Anunnaki.
into slaves. Anunnaki. I heard that there's a movie about them, isn't it? Or no? Are you laughing? No. And I was about to tell you about the collected work of Aleister Crowley. I have that on
Okay.
Apple. I just haven't started reading it yet. But well, it says I completed 1%, but not really. And then
Anunnaki. Anunnaki is a movie. It's Anunnaki.
ANU. So it is a movie. See, I knew I wasn't reading it. I had it up. I'm not only Anunnaki, but the Anunnaki, Anunnaki, something religious. Oh, look at the rainbow! Oh my goodness, it rained and it's such a pretty rainbow now. Okay, but okay, wait, that's so nice. Anunnaki, here you go. And Anunnaki.
Yeah. They have these pictures right here. They like to do on the Wikipedia, which is the Anunnaki. Um, Let me see if I got that showing on the stream. No. Yeah, let me see here. Anunnaki images.
I'm looking for that. This.
There you go. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, I can. I had it too zoomed in. See,
Now,
look,
see
that's crazy.
the Anunnaki is supposed to be the deity that's sitting down, okay? And if you look at him, if he was to stand up, he would be taller than the images that are facing him,
Yeah, his
okay?
legs look like the height of their body.
So the Anunnaki are supposed to be like giants, and they're supposed to live very, very long lifespans compared to what we live. Um, Now, freaking, you notice over here that you got this one that's looking away from
Yeah,
him
on the left
and not
side.
towards him. I know that that has some significance. I just can't remember what it is exactly. Over here, you have the wheat, which is all around right there. which represents freaking crops and stuff like that. Because with the Sumerians, the crops were very important.
I was looking for why the figure was looking away. Mankind's forgotten creators, reign of the Anunnaki, meet the
But
Mesopotamian demons. Definitely not.
these are some of the stuff that that Zechariah Sitchin got into. And he was really into all that. I mean, like really into it. He would. He's the one that pretty much inspired ancient astronauts and stuff like that. Uh,
He inspired. Wait, hold on. He
he
inspired the.
inspired them. You know, when
Oh,
you hear about ancient astronauts and stuff, he's the one who actually inspired people into believing in ancient astronauts. A lot of people criticize him today for a lot of the stuff that he said, but
like what? Like what for his beliefs in the.
well, he came out with a book called The 13th Planet, and
I think
uh,
this book was there.
the thing is there isn't 13 planets, you know, and he had something that he said that the first planet would start from the outside, the outer part of the solar system, and then the last planet would be the one closest to the sun because as a spaceship comes into our solar system, that's how they would perceive the planets. The first one would be the first planet they encountered. You see, so the
Shouja.
13th planet would be the 13th planet closest to the sun, and back then he said that there was Tiamat, and there was the planets that were in our solar system wasn't the same as what they are now.
So you know how there's like a Series B and a Series A planet. Have you heard of this now?
Sirius A and they're talking about Sirius as the is like constellation, right?
Yeah. Well, no. So okay. Well, maybe you're telling me something, but just from what I heard and what I experienced, supposedly it's supposed to be an advocate for those two to become actual recognized as actual planets. That's not.
Oh, you're talking about the dwarf planets and everything, or the
Yeah,
new
yeah. Because
planets
when
that are discovered out on the outskirts of the solar system.
but are they discovered, or is it something to where this is what? So then, does this mean that he had a premonition?
Well, the thing is we don't really know everything about our own solar system. Like there's parts of the outer part of the solar system that we just don't know about. I think we discovered another planet because of gravitational pools that they noticed when they were staring off into the outer regions of our solar system. They noticed that there was a gravitational pull, and then they did more observations, and they found out that there was another planet out there besides Pluto. So I mean, we're still discovering stuff.
Citizen.
Like they don't
Citizen. Okay.
know for sure every single thing about all that stuff. It's nothing is written in stone when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's no real definite. It's all about exploration, and it can change anytime because there's so much to contribute to evolution and stuff evolving into something that it was or not, or stuff that comes from nothing. And at one point, there was just especially when we have different type of chemicals and different type of things going within the atmosphere. Like I can imagine that contributing a lot to different things showing up all of a sudden. Like around my house, like anywhere though, everywhere I go, they have so many satellites. You know, have you done that night sky, like planet observation look thingy? I've done that, and there is like a ridiculous amount of everything, like ridiculous amount of
Yeah.
satellites, man-made satellites though, within the sky. And that's just crazy to me because
my nephew,
why?
my nephew got his telescope. He was aiming it up, and this is Mr. Science, you know what I mean? And the moment he got his
Hmm.
telescope, he put his freaking eye down in there to look. I'd say maybe 30 minutes after he first looked through it, all of a sudden he's seen a UFO.
Yes, stop it.
And he's like, oh, it's a UFO. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Science there, freaking, he's
Pulling the
always,
UFOs out the sky. Wait.
he just saw something and didn't know what it was. So in his mind, he got excited because he saw a UFO.
Have it. It was the UFO. I believe you, man.
You know, that's like a half an hour after he got his first telescope.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a UFO thing.
Like,
I when I had it, I used to have a telescope about a year or two back. When I moved, it did not make it with us just because it kind of was already falling apart. So moving it would have been pointless. But when I sit here and I tell you, like you can see so many cool things, but it wasn't a good enough. I don't want to say it wasn't a good enough because it took me a lot closer than I would have been without it. But it was just crazy because when you look at it and you're looking at just like the sky, it's just a whole different world. And then I have a question. Like you go on airplanes and it'll look like the planes are flying with the stars. But have you ever noticed that when you're on an airplane, you don't see any stars?
wow. Have you ever looked at the ground on an airplane?
Yeah.
you you got to think about that too. Like look at the ground, and the appearance there from what you're seeing is deceiving to your eyes because your mind's not perceiving distance properly. You know what
Or
I'm
am
saying?
I further away than I think I am? And that's the reason that I feel as though.
Yeah, like especially if you're flying over a city and you see the lights below.
Hmm.
That's a big obstacle or
Optical illusion.
optical illusion. Yeah,
I never knew that.
it plays tricks on your mind. Like you're seeing it. Don't get me wrong, but you're not seeing it correctly. Your eyes can't cope with it. That's an optical thing. That's actually a pretty good subject too, like the optics and how the human eye works. Like your eyes see things completely different than mine does because there's always something different in the eye. So I'll literally see something and you'll see the same thing and you won't see it correct or the same way I do.
Right, perspective. Yeah, definitely. But that's
Well,
just with everything.
I mean that's because of like a pigment could be missing from my eye that's in your eye. See, I mean
My baby,
you'll literally see it different.
they told him my baby he needed glasses. They were like, "Yeah, he's gonna need glasses." Blah blah. Blah. He's like, "Mom, I don't want to have glasses." He's like, "Because I get vision from my eyes being like this, so I get to see stuff, and I see stuff that other people don't see, and it protects me." And I just think, I wonder. I didn't. I'm not gonna force him when he says, "Mom, I'm tired of being blind" or something like that. Then okay, we'll reconvene with that subject matter. But if he's saying no and he feels like it makes him more powerful, who am I to tell him it's not? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
what if that's why, like, we have power. We all know about telekinesis, telepathy, and just like everything where regards to teleportation, us being able to do that. And people don't believe in this thing, but like, what was that movie? Leaper? Wasn't it called Leaper? And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, that stuff is real. Like, people really are able to. I mean, you have to be extremely disciplined because now they have like robots and technology, but the reason why these robots and technology can perform is because we can. Within our mind, we're capable of the same exact thing. We're creating something else to do for us. We are the technology that they're utilizing in order to be able to implement these type of proceedings and changes. So, in regards to, imagine the reason you see stuff different is because you're a jumper and I'm a skipper. I'm just saying, if we had superpowers, and Batman is Batman, Superman is Superman, both very, 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 very powerful, very,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But they have different, you know what I mean? So maybe you have X-ray vision. I don't have X-ray vision, but I have really good reflexes or good, you know what I mean, peripheral vision, stuff like that. And that just makes too much sense to me. Like, that's
Well,
like
it's
a
like I
real.
mean the only thing I was trying to say is like on a physical, like physical aspects, like your eyes, they've got pigments in it. You know what I mean? Where it connects,
Yeah.
where it makes up the pupils and stuff. Where like
What color
there's
eyes do you have, Roger?
green, hazel.
Okay. Yeah, I never. Mine's are black, but like in the sun, really brown, light brown, not light brown, but like brown. But they're black usually, and that's yeah, because eye color is a big deal. People like yeah, eye colors are a really big deal. And just like I feel like there are certain type of characteristics that we charge to quote unquote genetics. I feel like that's the lazy form of being able to kind of just dumb it down as opposed to it actually being as opposed to actually seeing what get away from me. Look at this squirrel, looks like it wants to fight me. Go. He looks so crazy. Hey, why are you coming to me? Go that way.
Well, since you're being attacked by a squirrel,
Not attacked yet.
I'm going to bring it to an end because we're like right at an hour and 5 minutes. So
Wait, you're gonna end it when I'm getting attacked, so you're gonna hang up on me
yeah.
getting attacked? Like that's not my area of expertise. You go ahead and handle that. That's horrible. So tomorrow we're conspiracy and we're Nicola. That's good. I can bring a little bit more to that subject matter because today was strangeness. It was a
The
learning
Nikola Tesla
experience.
thing's going to be good. So, yeah, definitely come there. I know that that's a good topic. Like I said, if Tan and them don't want to do, Tan and Robot don't want to do the 911 and all that stuff, we'll just go with that and do finish off where we were with that because I
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, no, definitely me as well. So yeah, that's a good subject. And I hope they can come to that too. I know that you had to change the time just so that way people would be able to show up. But have you talked to Dave? Maybe he can come as well, right?
He was on here a little while ago. He said that he's gonna have to skip on that because they got him working weird hours and everything,
Mm,
and then
mm,
he's gonna have to be traveling until he picks his kids up on the weekend. So
mm.
it's like I told him, we
Okay.
can get back with him later on. But on Tech
All
Talk,
right.
we're gonna have Mark and Tan, and they're trying to get Phobe to come onto it too. So
Isn't Bashi coming as well, or is Bashi
we
coming a
asked
different?
Bashi. Bashi said that not she couldn't make it this Thursday. Thursday was a bad day.
And it's what time? My time? It's 4 your time, right? So it's five
Right.
my time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I don't have to talk. Just smile and say hi, and then I can just listen in. So I kind of want to listen in just in case I have questions, and then we can do our show. I guess right at 6, right?
Yeah.
Or this show, not, but you know what I mean. But
Well,
okay, okay, cool.
let me go ahead and get off here real quick. Okay.
Have a
And
good night. Be safe.
you too.
Thank you.